Season 3 of Invincible dabbles in the gray area that many of us live in and that Cecil has spoken about time and again. And I believe the determining factor of what makes someone morally good is empathy. Cecil was adamant about being the check that balances the power of supers, regardless of consent or consideration in how they may respond to his approach. We've seen that his over-surveillance had been helpful in moments during battle when heroes are injured, or in some cases reworking villains to do a job for him. But we've also seen the consequences of his lack of communication with people who could be affected by his decisions. Mark carried the weight of ending Engstrom all season long, avoiding taking life at all costs, recognizing the changes in his psyche, and advocating for the incarceration of dangerous individuals over capital punishment. And in the end, he'd unknowingly caused himself stress while appropriately considering his moral qualms. I'll be real, and spoiler alert if you've never watched The Walking Dead, but this season was really giving those vibes. Like season 2 vibes, when Rick and Shane are having different ideologies, or even later on, when Rick and Negan butt heads, and when there were more discussions about imprisonment, exile, and who really gets to make those choices. Now I understand and respect that in a high-action comic series like this, the drawn-out conversations aren't preferred, so they definitely did a lot more show than tell. Finally, Conquest. Speaking of The Walking Dead, Conquest is mostly brute force, but apparently that monologue at the end was just for the series and not actually in the comics. What it showed me is that this guy has awareness. In fact, he has feelings, but he pushes them so far away that it's giving sociopath. He lacks empathy, which has been useful in his missions, but it has alienated him towards leaning into violence much more. He's almost like an example of the most toxic masculinity someone could have, in that he will only reveal his secrets if he's certain you won't continue living to tell anyone. And this is when it dawned on me. Most people have the capacity for empathy, and the bad guys just detach from it to break away from their moral compass. And in fact, if individuals have that capacity, then they can be rehabilitated. Nolan did this, and characters like Powerplex, Paul, and Titan kind of reside somewhere on that gray spectrum, in addition to Cecil, Oliver, and yes, Mark.